What's the deal, my people? You know it is Don Tony Teflon, and I'm back at you another one. And this one is the Gilded Age Season 2, Episode 5, Close Encounter to Touch. I will recap, break down, and give you everything that you may have missed in this episode. Plus, I will talk about my theories, and if that seems like something you're into, make sure you subscribe and click that bell so you can be notified every time I drop a new video. Right now, we're seeing that Mrs. Russell confronts her son being drunk with his homeboy coming home from college, and she's like, you can't be sloppy around me. I got the Duke coming here, so go your ass back to New York. You can't chill up here in Newport with him. And he's like all heartbroken over the fact that this older lady done kicked his ass to the curb because she wanted to stay in society. She's seeing him as a boy toy. Now, that may not be exactly true. And we don't know exactly if she truly was in love with him or not, but we do know that she cared more about society than she did about him, and that she was not willing to give up her status in order to keep sleeping with this cat. So he's heartbroken over it. And Bertha's like, until you get over it, go your ass back to New York. You are not going to ruin this for me and your family, and of course, their sister, as we see later. After this, we see Oscar's new chick go confront his cousin. Not really confront, but ask her straight up, listen, I know this dude was trying to mac on the Russell daughter. I know this. And now all of a sudden he's swinging his dick my way. Is he after me, or is he truly just after my money? And she says, no, I do believe that he kind of likes you. She's like, thank you so much, because I like him. And she then goes to her husband and talks to her husband like, listen, I hope he does right by her. And her husband was like, I told you not to get involved. Blowing up in her face because we know Oscar is about the money, and he's also riding the baloney pony. But that's for another episode. We then see Ada bring her family together and tell them, we have something I need to speak to you about. Something that means a lot. And Agnes is like, this is like pulling teeth, just spit it out. And she tells her that she was asked to get married, and she has accepted, and she's going to get married. And Aunt Agnes is not happy about it. Now, we got to look at it two different ways. Aunt Agnes is been paying for Ada for everything. Aunt Agnes has taken care of Ada for everything. Of course, Ada has the right to be happy, but at this particular stage, Aunt Agnes, who is a domestic abuse survivor, finds herself in the position that her sister, the one that she's dependent on, her only friend in this whole world, is now going to step off with this man that she just met. Let's be honest, she just met this dude. Now, when you reach a certain age, you don't need that long courtship. I 100% agree with that. I know when I like somebody. I know when I don't like someone. It don't take years to figure this out, right? So, and you don't got that much time when you reach a certain age, right? So I 100% agree on what she's doing. I understand why she's doing it, but I also understand Aunt Agnes's hurt and pain and betrayal that she feels about this situation. Not that she doesn't love her sister, because she does love her sister. Does she make this about her? 100%. Is she bitter? No doubt about it. But I do understand why. Butler rolls up in the room and he's like, congratulations, Ada. And she's like, you better take that back right now, Jack. You know who employs you here, right? And she's like, I'm sorry, Ada, I have to take it back because Aunt Agnes asked me to. And she's 100% understandable about it. She's in a bad situation. Like, she wants to be happy. She deserves to be happy. But then again, she knows what her sister has gone through. After that, we finally get back to Peggy and her people down in Tuskegee. And she meets a bunch of young black women who grew up in the South, aspiring to be what she is. And I think that they played that very well. I like that scene, and I like the way that they showed the dynamic between her being a city black chick and the down south black chicks down there. After that, we see Mrs. Russell making the final preparations for her big ball. And while she's talking to her head chick up in here, she's like, listen, I may need a new lady maid, someone who can actually do the job, because the young girl that I got was only supposed to be temporarily, but I don't think that she's up to this occasion. This is big. And she's like, I'm going to go out and I'm going to find someone for you who's more suitable. I got your back. Don't worry about it. Right after that, we see Oscar and his new dame walking around, and he uses this whole situation to his advantage, saying that he has a domestic situation, some inner problems going on inside of his house because of his aunt and his mother, but he's going to stand up to his mother. What a strong man he is. And will you come to the wedding with me? And she agrees to go. Listen, and we know if you want to get a chick, you bring them to a wedding, they start seeing like they want to be at a wedding. Not only if you do that, you bring a chick around a baby, a lot of time girls, they start smelling the baby, they want a baby too. Besides that, we see Miss Whitaker right now making a plot to mess up, right, this whole ball. And she's got the staff on her side. I remember she used to work with these staff members. You don't know what she did with these people. We know what she did with the old man. Don't mean she ain't did stuff with the other staff, but they seem very eager and ready to do that and be on her side. So something must be going on with the Russells and the way that they're treating their staff to make them want to turn, or at least a couple of them make them want to turn. Maybe they're not paying him enough because that's what she brought up, money. After this, we see Oscar go over to discuss what's going on with his new girl's finances. And this guy is very wary of Oscar. He doesn't trust her. He may be up to something. Maybe he wanted to bag her, but it seemed like he did not want him there at all. And he was very taken back that Oscar knew everything about what's going on. If they plan on building a new railroad, which will be direct competition with the Russells, but we can talk about that later. We then go back to Peggy and we see the opening of Booker T. Washington's dream. His partner is not there to celebrate this with him, but it is a dormitory. This is the biggest building in the whole town that they have right now. And this is a place that black people can now not just get education, but you can come and sleep here. And now it opens up the whole possibilities of black people from all over the country coming down and getting an education. Peggy goes to ask people how they're feeling, to get some quotes for the newspaper. And then after that, her boss is like, we're going to get a private tour of the place, but you're doing such an excellent job. And he starts taking down the exact same quotes that she's taking. I had a theory about Peggy, and it came true in this episode. We're going to talk about that theory. In fact, both of my theories that I came up with, both came true in this episode. I knocked them both out the park. Wait on until, if you didn't know what I was said, just wait on. We'll talk about that in 1 second. After that, the party is just about ready. The final touches are being put on it. She's going to inspect the kitchen, and then her shorty comes over to her and tells her, I found somebody to do your hair, to put your tiara on. But she doesn't realize that the lady who's her handmaiden is sitting right behind her, the one that she's basically stabbing in the back. And I think that this is going to become a point of contention, because now that this young girl knows that she's going to be replaced, she's going to be able to do other things for people who don't like the Russells, like Mrs. W, right? I think that that's going to be her next mark. That is my prediction or my theory, that she's going to do something to sabotage the Russells, take it to the bank. After this, we see Agnes, and she goes and directly confronts her sister's husband, telling him straight up that you're taking my sister away from me. And he, in no uncertain terms, says, listen, this is what it is. I'm not going anywhere. You're either with us or not. She's coming with me. It's all said and done. And that's it. So you either want to roll with us or you don't want to roll with us. But this is what it's going to be. Even when she sat there and just poured her heart out to him, he was not willing to back. I don't know what she thought he was going to do. Did she really think that he was going to say, all right, you know what? Forget about the whole wedding. Forget about everything. Y'all just live together like two old ladies and I'll just go on as well. No, he is not trying to have that whatsoever. He wants this woman. He wants her in his bed, and he's not trying to hear anything else. And at the end, Agnes has to concede that he is not going to do what she wants him to do and just back off and leave. After that, we see Bertha and her daughter getting dressed, and Bertha basically dressing her daughter, saying, I have something planned for you. And this is one of my theories. I said that I believe that she was going to get with the Duke, and we do see that play out in this episode 100%. It hasn't gotten to that point yet, but I do believe that's what's going to happen. We have the Russell son goes and checks on their investment in the Brooklyn Bridge, and they moving funny as soon as he gets in there and he picks up on it, because when he asks for the person who's supposed to be building the bridge, he's supposed to be in Newport, but hey, he was just in Newport, right? He never heard of that dude being in Newport. He picked up on that real quick, and he's seen that these cats ain't holding the weight. There's something going on here, and his wife is supposedly over here running the whole show in his absence and has everything. And then he spies on her, and when he does spy on her, he does see her with the plans and the people in there building the Brooklyn Bridge. It's almost time for the wedding, and we see her getting fitted for her dress that she's going to wear. But when she does, Ada is almost ready to back out. Ada's almost ready to give in and just say, you know what, let me just call this wedding off. I don't want to upset my sister. But her husband told her specifically to go speak to Marian before you make any decisions, because he knows that all young people believe in love, and that she would not allow her to talk herself out of it. And she understands that and says, all right, I'm down. We're going to go through with this whole situation. I'm not going to back out. I deserve to be happy, and goddamn it, I'm going to be. George is on one of his trains with his people, and they're telling him straight up, we cannot show any weakness. We cannot back up. Because if we do, then the unions are going to win. We cannot. And they're looking at this as a straight up war. Like this is their, big war. Not war like going to another country. But for them, that's what it is. And that they have to hold the weight in order for this to work out. After that, we see Oscar go back to the people who are planning on expanding the railroad and buying 2 new lines, and he wants to invest money in it. It's a very smart move by him, because by putting up his own money, well, his mother's money, but his money, right? He makes it look like he doesn't want this chick for her money, and that he has his own money, so he doesn't need her for her money. So the other people can't just look at him as a male gold digger. Larry goes back and he busts Emily and says, listen, I know that you are the one behind the building of this bridge. And it is true that Emily Warrington did help build the Brooklyn Bridge. In fact, she was one of the main people to build the Brooklyn Bridge in real life. And that women weren't allowed to hold such jobs right back then. So she is one of the great women heroes of that time for going to school, getting her degree, and actually putting up a monument which still stands to this day. And the fact that she wasn't able to revel in it is crazy. The fact that she couldn't even marvel in the fact that she was the one who built this is crazy. Later on in her life, she did get recognized for that and for all of her accomplishments. Now the dinner is going down and the plan is in place. The Duke gets announced. Everybody is there. The Duke then gets seated right by the Russell's daughter, which I told you this was what's going to happen. And we see it go down. And this guy, this Mr. McAllister, just makes me laugh. His accent is just crazy. He's like, Mrs. Russell, if you want to reach the head of society, this is what you got to do. I don't know how we got the role with that accent like that. I mean, you could have hired me. I could do that for you. All right, so the Duke is there, and the plan is first to sabotage the food, but it gets sniffed out. And then they were going to spill soup, hot ass soup, on the Duke. And that gets sniffed out. So the plan is foiled. She does not get her revenge. But the staff knows exactly who did it, or who they suspect did it. And make no doubt that they're going to go back and tell Mrs. Russell what they suspect. They're going to say, listen, we do believe she tried to sabotage your whole dinner and the whole first course and everything else, but she did not get away with it. And Mrs. Russell is not going to be happy about it. But Mrs. Russell started this war because she's the one who opened up her mouth and got this chick and her husband kicked out of the opera house. So we're going to see. But it's funny the way they were saying, is that soup hot enough? Now, the show balanced the whole Duke ball and everything that was going on with the Duke, and in between that, they showed the black people eating, and they went to their friend's mother's restaurant, which the restaurant is this her house, basically, or a house that she set up shop in, and it just shows you how the rich and famous, how glamorous it is when they're eating their food, and how bad it is for the black people down here eating their food. But I'm gonna tell you straight up, I probably would have rather want to eat with the black people. That would have been probably more to my liking, because when I heard that menu that they were putting out there, that menu wasn't popping to me. But while they're eating out here in their kitchen, two white men drunk walk in there, and they just start taking food off of people's plates like it's all good, you know. And she was told, Peggy, how it was down south, and this is her first real experience of dealing with white folks in the South and how different it is. Boss stands up for the owner when this white man puts hands on her, and then he pushes the other dude to the floor, and just this act of pushing that man to the floor, he was about to get lynched. They were going to hang him, kill Peggy, kill them both, just for that one situation, just because even though they were wrong, 100% in the wrong, the fact that he said something back to these white people, the fact that he put hands on them, they were going to lynch him. They're up there hanging out in the barn, not really hanging, but hiding out in the barn, trying to escape because they had to take off right away after the situation. And this is when Peggy and him share a kiss. And I had another theory that Peggy and the boss were going to hook up, and it was going to cost her a job in the end, and I still stand by that theory. Ada goes through with the wedding, and right before she says her vows, her sister makes a grand entrance, wearing black, I might say, but she did make her grand entrance, and everything ended. And that's the episode. Let me know what you thought about this episode. And if you like the way I do this, please thumbs up this, spread this across the realm, and of course, subscribe. And until next time, you know who it is. Peace and stay sexy.